ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
वित्तेषु नित्यानिष्ठचेता विद्वांसदोषं परिवीतहर्षो प्रत्येह बाध्यापि जितेन्द्रियस्ता
अशान्तकामो हरते कुटुम्बे। विद्वानपि तं नरजात कुटुम्बम्। पुरुषान् स्वलोकाय न कल्पते वै। यस्वीय पारार्य विभिन्न भावस् तमयथा विमूढा। यतो न कश्चित् क्वचित् वा दीना स्वात्मानमलं समर्था। विमोचयितुं कामदृशं विहाय क्रीडानिरतो विसर्गा। ततो विदुरात् परिहृत्य दैत्या दैतेषु सङ्गं विषयात्मकेषु। उपेत नारायणमादिदेवम् समूकसङ्गे विशुषो प्रवरा। न हि अच्युतं विनयतो भवायशो सुरात्मजा। आत्मा सर्वभूतानां सेनाय सर्वदा। परावरेषु भूतेषु ब्रह्माण्डादिषु भौतिकेषु विकारेषु भूतेष्वहतमहत्सु च। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे।
hosting and opening the doors for all of us to discuss the pastimes of Krishna and glorify his devotees. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So we'll start with Jai Madhava. Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari
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 Jaya Gopinavallabha Jaya Girivaradhari
Vallabha Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Girivaradhari
Jaya Yashodanandana Jaya Vrajnandana
Jaya Yashodanandana
Jaya Yamuna Tiravanachaari Jaya Kunda Vihari
Jaya Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Kunda Vihari
Jaya Radha
Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunda Vihari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare
Let's do Mangalacharan prayers together.
ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनाशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुं श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगना ललिता श्रीशाखान्वितंश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्ता राधाकान्ता नमोऽस्तुते। तप्तकाञ्चन गौरी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। श्रीकृष्ण शरणं शरणागतं कथामृतं सततपीबतं भक्तिवेदान्त मार्गबन्धनं सर्वलोकैषीदेव जन्मप्रसन्नं सर्वलोकैषीदेव जन्मप्रसन्नं।
Today's verse is canto number 7, 6 and 19. Let's repeat after me. Achyutam pranyato bahyasyo suratmajaha atmavat sarvabhutanam siddhatvad iha sarvatah nahi achyutam pranayato bahyasyo suratmajaha atmavat sarvabhutanam siddhatvad iha sarvatah. Can I ask two Matajis and two Prabhujis to say the words?
न हच्युतं प्रणीयतो बहयायासो सुरात्मजः आत्मवत् सर्वभूतानां सिद्धत्वदिः सर्वतः
नहीं अच्युतं प्रणयतो
भाव्यासो सुरात्मजा
आत्मवत् सर्वभूतानां
प्रीणयतो
नहि अच्युतं प्रीणयतो
बाह्ययासोऽसुरात्मजः
बाह्ययासोऽसुरात्मजः
आत्मवात् सर्वभूतानाम्
आत्मवात् सर्वभूतानां
सिद्धात्वात् इह सर्वतः
सिद्धात्वात् इह सर्वतः
नहि अच्युतं प्रीणयतो
नहि अच्युतं प्रीणयतो
बाह्यसो सुरात्मजः
बाह्ययासोऽसुरात्मजः
आत्मवत् सर्वभूतानाम्
आत्मवात् सर्वभूतानां
सिद्धवत् इह सर्वतः
सिद्धात्वात् इह सर्वतः
Let's what is the translation? Na, not. He, indeed. Achyutam, the infallible supreme personality of Godhead.
The infallible supreme personality of Godhead.
Prinayataha, satisfying. Bahu, much. Ayasaha, endeavor. Asuratmajaha, the son of demons.
O son of demons.
Atmavat, because of being intimately related as the Ja,
Super soul.
as the super soul.
Sarvabhutanam
Of all living entities. Siddhatvat, because of being established. Iha, in this world. Sarvataha, in all directions. In all times. And from all the angles of vision. Translation. Please repeat after me. My dear sons of demon. The Supreme Personality of Godhead. Narayana. He is the original super soul. The father of all living entities. Consequently, there are no impediments to pleasing him or worshipping him under any conditions. Whether one be a child or an old man. The relationship between the living entities and the Supreme Personality of Godhead is always a fact. And therefore, there is no difficulty in pleasing the Lord. Translation. The translation by His loving grace, divine grace, Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki is here. My dear sons of demon, my de- sorry, purpose. One may ask, one is certainly very attached to the family life. But if one gives up family life to be attached to the service of the Lord, one must undergo the same endeavor and trouble. Therefore, what is the benefit of taking the trouble to engage in the service of the Lord? This is not a valid objection. The Lord asserts in Bhagavad Gita 14.4, Sarvayonishu kaunteya muttaya sambhavantiya asam brahma mahadyonir aham bija prajapita. It should be understood that all species of life, O son of Kunti, are made possible by birth in this material nature, and that I am the seed-giving father. The Supreme Lord, Narayana, is the seed-giving father of all living entities because the living entities are parts and parcel of the Supreme Lord. Mamevamsho Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatanaha. As there is no difficulty in establishing the intimate relationship between a father and son, there is no difficulty in re-establishing the natural intimate relationship between Narayana and the living entities. Swalpam apyasya dharmasya prayato mahato bhaya. This is explained in Bhagavad Gita. If one performs even very slight devotion service, Narayana is always ready to save one from the greatest danger. The definite example is Ajamila. Ajamila is separated himself from the Supreme Personality of Godhead by performing many sinful activities and was condemned by Yamaraja to be very severely punished. But because at the time of death he chanted the name of Narayana, although he was not calling for the Supreme Lord Narayana, but for his son named Narayana, he was saved from the hands of Yamaraja. Therefore, pleasing Narayana does not require as much as endeavor as pleasing one's family, community and nation. And I think this is a very important point. We have seen important political leaders killed for a slight discrepancy in their behavior. Therefore, pleasing one's society, family, community and nation is extremely difficult. Pleasing Narayana, however, is not at all difficult. It is very easy. One's duty is to revise one's relationship with Narayana. A slight endeavor in this direction will make attempt successful. Whereas one will never be successful in pleasing his so-called family, society, nation. Even if one's endeavor to sacrifice his life, the simple endeavor involved in the devotional service of Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, hearing and chanting of the holy name of the Lord can make one successful in pleasing the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has therefore bestowed his blessings by saying, Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtana. All glories to Sri Krishna Sankirtana. If one wants to derive the actual benefit from this human form, he must take to the chanting of the holy name. Hare Krishna. Om Narayanam Namaskritya Param Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Bhatreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Before I begin the verse, let's go back to last week's little bit recap of what Mataji has said. So last week in the class, Mohini Mataji nicely explained about the verse that was 6:17 and 18. She said the verse, basically the verse, the plot of the story is happening is that Prahlad Maharaj is instructing his demoniac schoolmates. So how we all know that Prahlad Maharaj is the age of 5 years old. He was sent to learn from he was sent to Gurukula, learn from his school, his masters, his teachers. But what happens is that Prahlad Maharaj doesn't learn anything from them. He actually started teaching his teachers as well as his schoolmates. So this is a conversation between the school, his students and Prahlad Maharaj. So what he said last week was that he says, my dear friend, son of demon, it is certain that there is no bereft of knowledge of Supreme Personality of Godhead has been able to liberate himself from material bondage at any time or any country. Rather, those bereft of knowledge of the Lord are bound by material laws. They are factual, addicted to sense gratification, and their target is women. Indeed, they are actually playthings in the hands of attractive women, victimized by such a conception of life. they become surrounded by children, grandchildren, and great grandchildren, and thus they are shackled to material bondage. Those who are very much addicted to this conception of life are called demons. Therefore, although you are sons of demons, keep aloof from such person and take shelter of the Supreme Personality, Godhead, Narayana, the origin of all demigods. Because of the ultimate goal for the devotees of Narayana is liberation from the bondage of material existence. So, Mataji nicely said that in these previous verses there is two things that she said. That one was that verse 17 was giving us the symptoms of this material nature. So what are the symptoms? What are the disease that we have? The symptoms that explain. And then the 18th verse that's giving the medicine. So when you have the disease, you get the medicine. And medicine is what? That is that surrendering to the Supreme Lord. So the verse 19, which is the continuation of the verse 18, this is also explaining the process. So we have the disease, and then we have the medicine that is given is surrendering unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But 19th verse is explaining how do we surrender. The process will be explained. So if we read the translation, my sons of demons, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Narayana is the original Super Soul, the father of all living entities. Consequently, there are no impediments to pleasing him or worshipping him under any condition, whether one be a child or an old man. The relationship between the living entities and the Supreme Personality of Godhead is always a fact, and there is no difficulty in pleasing the Lord. So, in the translation, it is said that it said that pleasing the Supreme Personality of Godhead is very easy. So we need to find out what is that easy and how it is easy. And then the other thing is it says whether one be a child or an old man. So Prabhupada in the purport, actually when I was reading it, I said to Prabhu that if I read this purport 2-3 times, I think that sums up the lecture, because I don't need to speak anything else other than what Prabhupada already said it. So here he said, he mentioned about Ajamila. So I won't go very details because many of you know, but I will give you a little story of Ajamila, because I don't know how, the new devotees knows or how not sure. So, so Ajamila was a Brahmana, and he was doing all his devotional service in terms of doing his Gayatri, his devotional service, serving the Supreme Lord very nicely with his family. He had a young wife, his family and everybody. So one day he happens to go to the jungle, go to the forest to get the alms for his puja, his worship. And then there he sees a abominable act of one Shudra and Shudrani intimately engaging. So that scene struck in his mind, and then he comes home, and after he comes home he starts thinking about what he has seen in the forest, and then after that he couldn't take his mind off that incident, and then he actually goes and involves with that lady, and then therefore he falls down from his status or from his devotional service. Not only he falls, he leaves everything, including his family, his wife, his devotional service, most of all, chanting, serving the Supreme Lord, and then he marries that lady and then has children. And then years passes that in his old age, on his deathbed, he was about to die. He has, the story goes like, he has many children from that lady. And then one of his youngest son was named Narayana. So as in his deathbed, Ajamila was about to die, and he sees that when he was dying, that he sees that the Yamadutas come to get him. So in the Prabhupada Ji mentions in the purport that that Ajamila was saved um, from Narayana. And why he saved from Narayana? Because he. So in that conversation, that what happens or what we know is that Ajamila calls out his, when he sees the Yamadutas, he calls out his young son Narayana, Narayana, and then Yamadutas actually are there, but at the same time when he calls out for Narayana, the Vishnudutas also thinks that he is calling Narayana, so he is also eligible to go to Vishnu Loka. So then the Yamadutas and then the Vishnudutas comes, and then the conversation happens. So in that conversation, that Yamaraja instructs his subordinates, and then he says that a verse says that Jivvana Bhakti Bhagavad Gudanamadeyam Chetas Nat Narat Chararavindam Krishnaya no Namati Yat Chara Ekadapi Krita Vishnu Kritya. So Jivvana Bhakti, whoever that does not chant Krishna's names through his tongue, and as well as Jivvana Bhakti Bhagavad Gunanamadeyam Chetas Na Smarati Yat Chat Charanaravinda, means that one who does not use his head to bow down in front of the deity of Krishna, and then also who doesn't think of Krishna and who doesn't do the service of Krishna. So these kind of people bring to me. So that is a very important instruction, not because when we die where are we going, but it is instruction that what we should be doing, what is our position, what is our duty. Okay. So Prabhupada ji in the purport mentions that he says that one may ask that one is certainly very attached to family life, but he gives up the family, and to attach the service of the Lord, he needs to go under a lot of endeavor and trouble. So Prabhupada ji is saying that we may think that when we are attached, so when we are engaging in our family life, it is very hard to leave the family life and to participate or engage in devotional service. But he said it's not. Why it is not? Because in here it says that he himself saying that in Bhagavad Gita it says, Krishna says that Sarva Yonishi Kaunteya Murtaya Sambhavantiya Tasham Brahma Mahadhyonir Aham Bija Prajapitaha. So Krishna is saying that I am the seed giving father. So that means I am in everyone's heart as Paramatma, and where he is living in, he is living in our heart. And where it also says that because Krishna is in our heart and he is a seed giving father, so he is basically waiting for us to come back. And how because here in the verse that Prabhupada, it says that Atmavat Sarva Bhutanam. Prahlad Maharaj is saying Nahi Achyutam Prinayato Atmavat Sarva Bhutanam. Atmavat means he is in the what is the translation says? It says Atmavat is because he is being intimately related as a super soul. So he is in our heart as a Paramatma, and he is in Sarva Bhutanam. He is in everybody's heart. So whether we are a little ant or animal or even as a human being, he is in our heart. And Prahlad Maharaj, as a 5-year-old boy, he is instructing this to his friends. So here, Prahlad Maharaj is acting as a guru to all his friends. So it is also understood that doesn't matter what someone's age is, when they are talking about Krishna and their path, leading us to the path of Krishna, we need to take that instruction very seriously, and they understood as they are the guru, and they are taking us to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So as I said, Sri Krishna, Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is sitting in Paramatma, as in everyone's soul, he is the benefactor of the truthful devotee, and um, he cleanses our desires for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotees, and who also develop the urge to hear his messages, which are in themselves virtuous and when they are properly heard and chanted. Because Krishna is very much anxious, when this conditioned soul we will look to Krishna is very much anxious, that he is saying that when this conditioned soul will look towards me, he is now looking towards Maya, the other side, and the dark side. So in the analogy is given as Krishna is the Surya and then Maya is the Andhakar. So when we look at the sun, do we see the darkness? No. But if you go the side of the behind the sun, then there is the darkness. So that what we need to do? We need to turn ourselves to Krishna and see the light. As we are from the Indian background. We as a child, we many of us knows this was Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya. So the light actually dissipates the ignorance. So because we are in the ignorance, then what happens that we forget to see. But Prabhupada says that we haven't forgotten. He says that we think that we are forgotten or we are, but it's actually we are not. We are just conditioned in this material world, and because we are engaging in our family life, thinking our family, my children, my house, my this, my that, but then we are forgetting that we are is this thing, that this is I am this person, I am Vijaya, Bhakti Vijaya, and this is my house, this is my family, this is my children. But if we think that we often hear that we all have to fly our own kites. So end of the day, that when we, as the time goes by, that we realize that no one is there, including our children, this house, this car, anything, all our designations, whatever our qualification, nothing comes with us. What comes with us is only our devotional service. And so I was listening to the lecture of Prabhupada, and Prabhupada in the lecture, he was saying that how do we do that? He says the devotional service is very easy. All that we need to do is, this verse is also explained by Prahlad Maharaj as well, is Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu, Smaranam Pada Sevanam, Archanam Vandanam Dasyam, Sakhyam Atma Nivedanam. So Navavida Bhakti. Navavida Bhakti is 9 processes that we can do, that regardless of who it is, whether you are a child, whether you are an old man, whether you are able or unable. Like in terms of even if you are sick, we can still do one thing. That is using our tongue. First is Shravanam. Shravanam is hearing, that we are all doing now. And nowadays it is very easily available, but yet we are yet to fail doing this service, is Shravanam. Then we have phones, we have media, we have books, we have lectures, we have classes that are happening, but we are so much busy and we are so much entangled, and we are forget to see that we can do this service just by hearing. Is that when the classes are happening, that Vamakshetra, every week we post that Friday we have a Bhagavad Gita class, Sunday morning we have Bhagavatam class, and then we have call programs, and so many nice lecture persons comes, and Prabhus and Matajis comes, and then they do give discourses. So that is hearing. And what are we hearing about? We are not hearing about our glories, that how great I am. We are hearing about Krishna's glories, that how great is Krishna. And then what happens when you hear it? It says that Dhunoti Shamalam Krishna. So basically it cleanses our heart. And how it cleanses, very many times we hear about the analogy of the mirror. The dirt is on the mirror. So when you want to look at yourself in the mirror, and then you go to the mirror and say, mirror, mirror, just get clean. Does it get clean? No. What do we have to do? We have to take our tissue or a wipe, and we have to wipe it. But how are we going to wipe the dirt, cleanse the dirt that are in our heart? What is the dirt in our heart? Is basically us binding ourselves with this family, with this life, with this material, attractions. Or, yeah, desire. So how do we cleanse that? That by chanting Krishna's name. That, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. It says that, when you chant, then what happens? Dhunoti Shamalam Krishna. Krishna cleanses our heart. And how does he cleanse it? Sharilasya Yatashara. So Sarilasya Yatashara is basically, it is described as the autumnal rain. So many of us see, sometimes when the rain pours, then what happens? All the water in the lakes, in the rivers, it gets very muddy because it rains profusely and torrentially, so then everything gets havoc. But then autumn rain, when it just sprinkles, it just drips little by little. But then the water on the lake, it doesn't move at all, it stays still. But then what you see is that the water actually, because it is sprinkling slowly, so it's slowly, gradually, the dirt that is seated on the edge of the lake, it just moves away, and then what remains is the clean water. So similarly, our heart also gets cleansed just by chanting Krishna's name. And another way of doing that, the process is kirtana, is singing the glories. So when we hear, we also sing. And what we sing? We sing, of course, Krishna's names and pastimes and his stories. And then remembering Krishna while we are doing his service. So how do we service? When we 15 years back, we went to a class, and that's where at that time we were not doing much at all. Or we would, as from Indian background, we get up and we shower and then we do puja, and that was it. But at that time, that one Prabhuji said to us, he was saying in the class, that all that you can do simply is just when you get up, and you can just put a glass of milk in front of Krishna with a little bit of tulsi. And if you have a fruit, you can put fruit. If you don't have fruit, you can at least give water. Of course, we always decorate the temple with flowers and all. That struck me, and I said, yes, we always, every day we get up and we give milk to our children. So then why can't we give the milk to Krishna first? And then from that day till today, there is never a day, if I don't have anything at home, I still give a glass of milk or water or a piece of fruit, and then we take that. But that is the first step of devotional service. Before you considering anything else, you considering Krishna is the first person. So that's how, even if we are not doing anything, we can start doing that from tomorrow. I know here many of us, we do that 3 times a day. So that's not a question, but if we are not doing it, and even if we are doing little bit, then there is always a room for improvement. How are we going to implement? So if you are not chanting, chant Krishna's name. If you are not offering the food, offer the food. And if you are offering the food, if you are chanting, then maybe you can increase your rounds. And if you are increase your rounds up to 16 rounds, then you can read the scriptures of what we are doing. We are discussing about Bhagavatam, Bodhayanta Parasparam, and we are talking amongst each other, and we are listening, and then we are sharing our knowledge of Krishna to each other and also to the others. And after that, what we can do? That Pada Sevana. So when we can do the worship of Krishna at home, and then we can visit to the temple. And then when we cook prasadam, we eat also prasadam. Prabhupada in the lecture, he was saying that the service is, he always says devotion is with service. So service is an act. He says that service is not just happening with hands. You can do the service with your mouth as well, which is chanting. So that is service to Krishna. And also using your ears. Yes, how we are doing the service with our ears? By listening. And he also says that we can do the service with our tongue, with our mouth as well. How? Eating the prasadam. because when you eat the prasadam, you are honoring the prasadam, which is the remnants of food that was given to Krishna. So by doing it, we are actually cleansing our body, but also we are doing the service of eating. So he says by doing these things, what happens is that he said that that is the beginning of the Krishna conscious activity. And then what happens by doing all these things, that you will develop Shraddha. Shraddha is like, it is like a little bit of inclination of that, oh, someone is doing this for us, someone has invited us for the class, or someone's organized a program. So let's go and have a look at it, and let's go and associate with them. And when you do it, what happens? That your Shraddha will increase. And then because when your Shraddha is increased, then what happens? That will become, later on, it will take you to the path of more activities of Krishna consciousness. So it says that, Atho Shraddha Tata Sadhu Sangha. So when you have your Shraddha, then what happens? That you want to associate with the devotees. And those devotees, what will they do? They will do bhajana kriya. They will glorify Krishna, and they will engage you, or they will ask you to participate or engage you in bhajana kriya, and that is singing and singing the glories of Krishna. And then what happens when you do that when you do the bhajana kriya, then what happens? All the anarthas in our heart, anartha nivritti, that happens. That means that our heart gets purified, and when it gets purified, then what happens? Then we will be able to chant Krishna's name more and more. And then that when we do that, Adho Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana Kriya, Anartha Nivritti, and then Nishtha. Nishtha means that we will be very much situated in that this is the right path we are doing, and we would like to continue. And then we will get the taste of speaking about Krishna's name and glorifying him. We will get that. It says that if we don't, as it says that in Bhakti Rasamrita Srindu, that Atha Shri Krishna Namadi na bhave grahyanendriya seven mukhehi jivvado swayam eva spruhutyada. It means, it says that no one can understand that seven mukhehi jivvado swayam eva spruhutyada. No one can understand the transcendental nature, the name or the form and the qualities and pastimes of Krishna through his material contaminated senses. Only one, when becomes spiritually saturated by transcendental service to the Lord, and then Lord are the transcendental name, form, quality and pastime, then the law of the Lord revealed to him. So it's only by chanting Krishna's name, that is the only way that you can understand Krishna. As many devotees, we can do many of the services, but if we don't understand the basic, that who we are, what we are here for, and what is our duty. So Prabhupada ji in the lecture, he said that we are all think that we are the boss of this house, we are the boss of that, but then he says actually we are not. We are actually the servant. We are the servant of somebody. Whether if you are a woman, then you are the servant of your husband, or if you are working, then you are the servant of your boss. If you are a big manager, then you are still a servant of the company. Even if you are a big politician, you are still the servant of the nation. But as in Prabhupada in the lecture, in the purport, he was saying, doesn't matter how much we try to please somebody, we cannot please them because our senses are very limited and we tend to make mistakes. So that's why when we do whatever the service that we are doing, if we turn ourselves around and serve Krishna, then that will be able to perfect ourselves through our service. In the verse, just give me 1 second. So in the verse that there is a word called Achyuta. So Achyuta is one of the word for Krishna. Achyuta means he never fails from his word. We heard this word Achyuta in so many ways, in Bhagavad Gita, in so many places. So he says that he promises Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita that Kaunteya pratijanihi name bhakta pranashyati. Bhagavad Gita 9.31. If you become his devotee and rest is assured. So Achyuta, Krishna never fails from his word. There is a verse by Yamunacharya. It says Kadaham Aikantika Nitya Kinkara. Just now I forget. Just now it says, my dear Lord, I am loitering in this material world without any guardian. So when the time will come that I shall be jolly away that there is my guardian Krishna. Kadaham Aikantika Nitya Kinkara. Nitya Kinkara is that we are always the servants. That we need to remember that we are the servants. So who we are going to be the servant of, that is something that we need to think of. So if you want to be a servant of your senses, then you are going to come into this material that cycle that it will never end, because as the purport in Prabhupada mentioning that it doesn't matter how much you serve somebody, how much you try to please somebody, even just think ourselves that we try to please, we try to look after our body, we try to look after the house, the children, everything. Is there a point that we can say, oh, this is enough, that's it, I don't want to do this anymore? Have you ever come across to that point? That no, because we always think like, oh, we can do this more. I have a small house, let's buy a big house. If I have a big house, let's buy a big mansion. If I have a big mansion, let's buy a couple of more of them. So then my children can enjoy, my family can enjoy. So what the point here is that we are serving, we are the servant. So, but then whom we wanted to serve is that's the question. But if you think that who is the servant, who is the, if we think that we are the servant, then we need to think who is the master that we are serving. So our master is Krishna. That's what we need to think. Because if when you serve Krishna, what happens that it satisfies your heart. You won't get any desires. Just give me 1 second. That there is a verse reference of in Canto 1, chapter 2, 17 verse. Srinvatam swakatha Krishna punyashravana kirtana idayantasyohya vadrani vidhunoti chidutsatam. It says that in everyone's heart Krishna is residing as the benefactor, and he cleanses our desires for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee, and who has developed the urge to hear his messages, which are themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. So this was a very, very prominent verse, that hearing Krishna's stories and pastimes, that actually cleanses our heart. So that is the process. And at the last, that Prabhupada says that our duty is to revive our relationship with Narayana. So the relationship reviving process is is done by, as I explained, through Navavidha Bhakti. Whether it is, as I said, like whether it is Ajamila as an old man, or whereas Bhagavatam has so many examples of Bilvamangal Thakura, or even young children like Prahlad Maharaj himself and Dhruv Maharaj himself. There are so many stories that gives us that the age barrier is not a parameter that whether you can or you cannot do it. And also our physical condition should not be an impediment as well, because as I said, even if you are unable to walk, but wherever you sit down, you can still chant Krishna's name. You can still think of Krishna. Even if you can't use your mouth, as in like you can't speak, your mind, your senses, that we can still use those senses to serve Krishna. And by that way we can perfect our life. And I conclude with this one, that Krishna consciousness is that what devotee needs to understand, that if I become servant of my senses, then I know I won't be satisfied. But if I am become the servant of Krishna, then I will be satisfied, because Krishna is, as a Paramatma, he is sitting in our heart, and he will make our desires go less and less, and then he will increase our desire to serve to him. So that's all I have to say. I apologize that if I make any mistakes. Then please guide me and bless me so I can serve you guys more. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Grandhara Srimad Bhagavatam ki
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai.
Bhakti Vijaya Mataji ki
Jai.
Hare Krishna Mataji, there are some new devotees, just maybe 5 minutes to kirtan.
Yes, sir.
Because some are new. Is it okay?
Oh, please.
Just 5 minutes. Some new. Yeah, then just 5 minutes.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Prashadam, sir.
There is a question.
मेरा क्वेश्चन यही था कि मैं हर दिन काम के कारण भगवान जी को 3 टाइम्स नहीं सर्व कर सकती हूँ और इसके कोई इजी वे हो सकता है, जैसे मैं हमेशा शाम को ही